Hello guys, my name is Pulani. I'm the founder of Craft Loft here in South Africa. Today I'm going to show you how to turn a simple glass like this one into a beautiful layered project like this one. So stick around and let's do it together.
Okay guys, let's get started. So firstly, we must keep in mind that our glass is 25 centimeter in width and 13 centimeter in height, and we want to include a name and lots of flowers. So this is called a layered project because it has layers. You literally layer vinyl on top of vinyl, right? Whether it's heat transfer vinyl or it's just sticker vinyl or it's infusible transfer ink sheet. So this is the part one. You'll see the part two. So I'm going to select this because it has more detail. I might not use the same colors because it depends on what vinyl I have. I might not have these colors exactly. However, we're just going to focus on the design for now. The next step, it will be definitely actually putting together and layering the project. So I'm just going to change the size quickly here so that it's small enough because I want small little flowers covering the entire class. So I'm just going to duplicate because I want as many flowers as I can get, and still I will leave space for the name that I want to put on there. So I'm just gonna duplicate. Oh my word, it's selected only the center, which is what I didn't want. Let me just select all of it, and then it's just gonna keep on duplicating. So I'm gonna select all the flowers again, select, and then I'm just gonna keep on duplicating. The only reason you're not seeing them appear as I duplicate is because they're literally on top of each other. This is to give us space to work on the canvas. So Cricut Design Space is smart like that. If I were to duplicate and it filled up this canvas, I wouldn't be able to design and put in other things, right? So it would force me to cut this, then come back and design. So instead, I have a lot of space where I can work on, all right? But then you'll see on the layers section, which is here, layers, it will show you how many flowers I already have. These are all the flowers that stacked on top of each other. So I'm just going to keep on duplicating, and then I'm going to go to make, and then I'm going to see how it presents itself on a mat. Once I have seen how it presents itself on a mat and how much area it covers, because I know I'm just gonna need space for a text on the glass, but also I want the flowers. So this is the center of the flowers. And then as you can see, the second mat, it tells me this is the layer, the first layer. So already, because I'm using a joy anyway, the width is 20 centimeters and the height is 5 centimeters. So I want to get it to 13 centimeters or at least 11, all right? Just between 11, 12, and 13 centimeters. I need to feed it up to here. The same applies to this, all right? So, but however, when I'm just gonna cancel and go back into the canvas, right? So I'm gonna highlight it again. And then as I highlight it, I'm just gonna duplicate. Remember on the layers part, it shows you how many elements you have on the canvas. And here, when I go here, right? And then I'm just gonna duplicate again, right? Remember, I want to achieve the height because the width I have already achieved it. So if I do pass the height that I want, I can always hide them on the mat. You'll see what I'm gonna do if I do actually pass the height that I want. So the height that I want is either 12 or 11, but I prefer 12 so that it gives me room for the bended area of the glass. So you'll see as I put it together, what room am I talking about? So I don't want to do it exactly as 13. So now we are now going to the mat section where we're going to check how it's going to present on a mat, how it's going to cut on a mat. So I'm going to be using a mat, right? So if you're not going to be using a mat, you can select without a mat, right? So I'm going to select a mat. So I'm just going to confirm, and then it's going to now present itself. Okay, so you can see this is what goes in the center of the flower. And then here we are. So technically speaking, I just need to duplicate it one more time. I just need to duplicate it one more time, and then we will reach the desired height. But if you do pass the desired height, I'll show you how to deal with it without actually coming here to delete. Okay. So right now, what I'm trying to do is I want to highlight and duplicate again. Once that is done, I know it's now time to go and cut on the machine. So I need you guys to keep in mind. So I'm just going to select all, and I'm just going to go down a little bit. So remember, I was here, then I, technically speaking, I want to select all of them. So I just double clicked and then here. Then I'm just going to go down there. I'm just going to scroll so that I can get that option to duplicate. Right. Here's that option. So I'm just going to duplicate it one more time. Right. So let's see. So I have duplicated that one more time. And then I am going to now go to make. I'm just waiting for it to load. And then I'm going to check if it's on 12 and 13, which is fine. Either way, we're just going to go ahead and cut and start layering. However, before we do that, actually, I'm going to put a name, or I'm going to put a nice coat on it. And I'm also going to layer that text that I'm going to put here so that it can cut all at once. So because they've moved down here, I'm just gonna I'm gonna select all of them. I'm just gonna select all. Sorry about that. So as you can see, they're all selected and they move down. So now I'm gonna just group them together and move them up. I want to be able to always see them. So for now, Design Space is still loading. Once that is done, it's just going to give me that option to group. I'm just going to group them and move them up. And then I'm just going to go and check if the height is what I desire it to be. Once that is established, I come back and then I design the text. Once that is done, then we can go ahead and move to the second step of cutting and then placing the design on the glass. So as you can see here I'm going to choose this, which is to group them so that I can move them together. This is a point of reference when you're designing on Design Space. All right. So, so I'm going to go ahead and select group. All right. So it's going to be easy for me to move them. So now I want to move them up here. Right. So they are already grouped. So the next step is to just, as you can see now, they are grouped. So I'm just gonna try to move them up because you see they keep on going down and I can't see them on the screen. So I highlight and then so now I'm moving them up, right? So I'm just gonna go up there and then highlight and then I highlighted that. So just right and then So I'm just gonna move them up here. Okay, I'm gonna move them up here where I can actually see. So now I have my signs there. I'm gonna go to make and see how it presents on the mat. I'm aiming for the desired height because the width has already been achieved. So I pressed make like before, and so I'm gonna be on a mat. So I'm just gonna confirm. Okay, and then I'm gonna now go to, so now as you can see it's on 23, which is not what I want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and highlight up to 13. Actually, I'm just gonna start here on 13 and go all the way down there, and I'm gonna choose the option to hide selected, right? So the machine won't cut that, right? So I come here as well, and then I'm gonna choose from 13, right? Okay, so let me select from here, right, all the way there, and then I'm gonna select hide selected. All right, so once it's like this, and that, I'll show you how I'm gonna put these. So this is our first, or the layer below, and then this is the layer on top. So we've achieved what we wanted. So we're gonna continue and press make, right? So when I continue, okay, now I have to now connect my joy to design space. I have to switch it on and connect it, and I'm gonna put on the materials. The colors won't be the same as this one because I might not have the same colors, but you get the concept. So let's move now to the next step. Okay, so now that the machine is on, I'm just gonna connect my machine, the Joy Extra. So I'm just using Joy Extra for this one. On my next layering project, which is gonna be iron on or HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl, I'll be using my Maker 4. So here we are. It's gonna ask us the base material, right? So it's vinyl. So I'm using smart vinyl, matless removable vinyl. However, I'm using the matte. And the reason I'm using the matte is because I needed that for measurement. And I will be using the matte to cut the vinyl. So I'm just gonna select the vinyl. So now it's ready for me to load the tools and the material into the net. So we are done with the first part, which is the designing. Now we're moving to the second part, which is the cutting, and the third part is going to be layering, right? So now that I have established that I have reached my desired width and my height, then I'm going to cancel the cut, and then I'm going to go back to the canvas, and I'm going to add a text. Remember I said I want to add a text, or a nice quote. Because it's Women's Month, I was thinking something related to that. So I'm just gonna put in a quote, or maybe I can put in a name. Let me think. Okay, so I'm just gonna decide to write my name. You can write whatever you want to write on yours. So I'm just gonna go ahead and write my name. And then I am obviously going to change the font because I want it to be more prettier and not so formal. So here are the options that I have on Design Space. This is one of my favorites, but I'm looking for something more fancy like that. I think this is pretty. Look at that. Um, let's see if you could get maybe something else. So before I move away from that, one. I'm just gonna bookmark it. Then oh, there's this one. It's so beautiful, but it's also thick. So I wanted something thin. Yeah. So let's just go down and just scroll, 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 and select the one that we want. I think I'm fine with this one. So I'm just gonna go back to design space, and I'm just gonna change the color. Whether you change the color or not at this point, it doesn't matter, because the color that you put in is what the machine is gonna cut. It cannot sense the color. So I'm just maybe gonna make it pink, and I'm gonna highlight it again. Remember, we are doing a layer project. Okay, that is small. It's not, I don't know what did I do there, so I'm just gonna undo, and then I highlight it, and I'm going to now use offset, right? I wanted to make it as small as possible. I'm going to choose the corner offset, and I'm going to choose it to be welded, right? So I feel like this is too big still. It's not what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to do an offset again, but I'm going to make it very small. I feel like, yeah, this small, and then it's just going to be a little bit, yeah, that's much better. Then I come back, I remove, and then I change the color. Maybe I can make it, should I make it white? Yeah, I can make it white, yeah. And then, yeah, I'm gonna leave this here. And I can make an offset again. We come back, say offset, and see if, let's try it again, yeah. And then I'm gonna change the color of the offset now to something like this, right? So as you can see, hence it's called layering, because you have now, I have now 3 layers, right? With that being said, am I happy with the height? Okay, in this instant, this is gonna be the height, because I'm just gonna put it facing up. So the height is gonna be 7, and the width is gonna be 2. So am I happy with that? Absolutely yes. Can I make it a bit bigger? I can, but I don't think I want to. I think it's perfect as it is. Obviously, when I layer it, it will be more, or maybe I should just increase this part, which is going to be my width. Remember, I still have 5 centimeter, so I can make it maybe 4, but it doesn't present nicely. So I'm just gonna make it 3.5, and then maybe I can make this 10, right? I think it works out well. It works out well because this is still the height in this instance, remember, because I'm going to swap it around. And then this will be the width, which is fine because I have 5 centimeter from the 25 centimeter. Remember, for the flowers, the width, I did it for 20 centimeters, which means I still have 5 centimeter of width to play with. And then on the height, it's 13 centimeters. So I just made the name to be 10 centimeters. So it means I can just place it in the center, right? So since I'm going to place it in the center, I'm going to also try to design, maybe I'm just gonna add this flower, just one flower, and make it, I'm just gonna group so that I can select one flower. Make actually select 2 flowers so that they can be on the both sides and fill up the space and make it more nicer. So I'm just gonna do that now, and then we go ahead and we make our design. All right. So I'm gonna try and get the colors to match. So whatever vinyl I whatever vinyls that I choose, I'm gonna make sure that they they are matching, or at least they are aligned. So I'm selecting one, and I'm just gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna take it now, I wanna remove it and bring it closer there. Even though it might cut, actually it will cut with the other flowers because it has the same color and everything. So it's gonna cut on the same mat, but I won't use it for, so I'm just gonna, yeah, 3 by 11, okay, perfect. So then I'm gonna duplicate this. So these two flowers, I'm gonna place them on the sides of the of my name. So let me make it, yeah, let me reduce it a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna reduce it a bit. Um, because it's giving me problems, I'm just gonna go ahead and reduce it here so I can make it 2 by 2, right? And then I'm just gonna lock it and then I'm gonna duplicate it, right? I'm gonna duplicate it, make it maybe, yeah, okay. Then I'm gonna go back and select all here. It's gonna select everything. It's fine. It really is fine. So so as you can see, everything is complete that I wanted to achieve at the beginning of the video. So everything is now achieved. So I have the name, I have the two flowers that are going to be standing, that I'm going to be placing them on the sides, and then I have all of my flowers that are going to be covering the entire glass. So now I can go and make. So it's going to choose a mat and then I'm just going to confirm, right? So as you can see now it has added that. Okay, so here it has obviously added my name. So I'm gonna select these and I am gonna move, right? Okay, that's not that. So since this starts at 4, I believe I need to now, my bad, my bad. Okay, so I'm just gonna highlight from here and I am gonna hide selected. Same rule applies here. I'm just gonna calculate. It now starts at, let me say 5, and then it means I have to come here and do hide selected. So this is the other layer of the name. This is the other layer of the two flowers, the big ones. Also, this is the other layer of the name and the two other big flowers. So you come here and that is the other layer, which is the first one. So I'm just gonna continue now and I'm gonna start loading on the mat. Remember the colors, they might not be the one that are presenting on the screen because I'm gonna use what I have, but I'm gonna make sure that they're close to each other so that it comes out prettier and nicer. Let's go to part 2.
Welcome to the second part of the design. As you can see, I'm done cutting everything. Now I'm covering the mat to make sure it's not dry. So I'm going to trim out every part in which the machine has cut out, and I'm going to take the remainder vinyl and put it away and use it in other projects. So this is me cutting everything out and making sure that I am removing the rest of the vinyl. So I am now removing the first part, which is that, and then the second part, which is the purple flowers. and you'll see, as you can see, there's a striking difference between the backing and the front flowers. So the backing is the peach flowers that you see on the table there, and then the top or the second layer, it's definitely the purple flowers that I'm weeding right now. They are very small, and therefore I have to move very carefully without cutting the lines there. And the material that I used here is premium removable vinyl, so therefore it's very delicate material. Definitely not the same as permanent vinyl. This one is very easy. One mistake, you can just um, cut the lines and it won't really appear very well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and weed out the purple flowers. They are gonna take a long time because they are small and they have a lot of detail, and you do not want to make any mistakes on them. Obviously, I could have chosen a bigger project with bigger flowers instead of making them very small, but I wanted something that was very interesting and beautiful to look at. If you remember very well, during our designing, we made sure that we leave enough space for the name and for the big flowers. Now I am cutting the name and the big flowers because I didn't do that in the first cutting session of this project. That's my daughter right there. So now I am cutting the remaining part as I have weeded everything. So now this is me cutting the backing of a name. Um, so so I'm just gonna trim out and remove the remainder of the vinyl and put it on the side, right? So I'm just gonna go on the other part, cut it, right, and place it on a mat because I already have the measurement of how big the name is. So I know how big of a vinyl I'm supposed to place on that mat already. For beginners, you don't have to place the whole mat, the whole vinyl on a mat all the time. As long as you know the size of what you're cutting and you place it properly on the mat, you shouldn't have a problem. So now I'm done. I am just gonna start weeding the names and everything because I'm done weeding the flowers. As you can see, what I'm showing now, it's the dots. You see the dots that form my third layer. Those I'm gonna place later. So I'm gonna first start by weeding the flowers and the name. All right, so I'm gonna start with the name. That is the one that's gonna go at the bottom, right? That's gonna go onto the glass directly, and then this is actually the name that is gonna be our third layer. So I'm weeding that right now and I'm putting it there. And finally, where it concerns the name, this is the second part that goes on top of the part that goes on the glass. So for the name, I had 3 layers, right? As you can see, the way I'm placing them in that order, that's how it is. And then we have the flowers again, the big flowers. They resemble exactly the small flowers. So I'm going to go in and weed the purple flowers. And once I weed the purple flowers, I'm going to weed. They are easier to weed compared to the small flowers, I have to admit. And probably I should have used the same size for the entire bottle, but I'm not disappointed or anything like that. I love it when you have small elements um, on a design and you place it somewhere. It always looks so beautiful, and because it takes time, I guess it does. So now I'm finally finishing up weeding these big flowers. Okay, so once that is done, I am gonna be transferring everything to where it's supposed to be, right? So now, as you can see here, I'm trying to take these small dots. You see, they're supposed to be a third layer on, and I'm placing them on top of the purple dot on the purple flowers. However, I realized that this is taking so much time. So I'm just going to put a few for demonstration purposes, and I can't put the whole thing as time it's not on my side. So I'm just going to take the transfer tape now, and on the transfer tape, I am going to cut it to size because that's the bigger transfer tape I'm going to use for this project. So I'm now removing the backing of the transfer tape, and I'm placing the transfer tape onto the flowers, right? Onto the top flowers that are coming there on top. Remember, if I had placed all the middle dots of the flower that is cream white, they would be there on top of the purple dot in the middle of the flower, and then I put my transfer tape. So now I'm scraping away because the aim is to lift. The aim is to simply lift the flowers and put them on the peach flowers, on the peach flower stickers that are on the table. And once that is done, I'm going to move everything to the bottle. So here we go. This is the thing about scraping. You'll get some, sometimes you won't get some. And then you scrape. Some will move underneath, especially with this material, which is what is happening right now. If you can look closely, you'll see. They'll move underneath and then they'll get messed up and all of that. But it's okay. Everything, when it comes to crafting, especially where vinyl is concerned, it's so easy to fix any mistake. Even with HTV, anything, it's so easy to fix. There's a solution to every problem. Okay. So here I'm trying to use a baking paper to try and trace it to make sure that they are on top of each other and they are aligned properly. So I'm going to try now and place it there. And here we go. I'm just going to go down there, and then now I'm putting everything on top of the peach flowers that are going to go at the back, right? So I'm scraping away. And then I'm pulling so I can see that there are some flowers that are still there. When I pull, not everything is coming up, so I have to go in with a scraper again. So I'm going in and still I'm having the same problem. So I have to come back with a scraper. And put in a little bit of a force. Also, you need to scrape at the back. All right. So you see there's other ones that will still want to remain behind, but it's okay. You just need patience and a little bit of force on your scraper. Don't do this mistake. Scrape as well at the back, which is something that I didn't do here. It helps significantly. So we're just going to pull the transfer tape, which already has the flowers on it. So we're going to try and pull it as gently as possible. And we want to see if there's anything that's remaining like this one. So we're just going to scrape it out. And we're going to proceed and try and scrape out as much as we can. Now everything is on the transfer tape after fighting with the vinyl. So now I have put everything onto the glass. So I'm scraping everything now onto the glass and making sure that everything sticks to the glass. So I'm now removing the transfer tape paper, and I apologize again because of the camera not being on where you can actually see. So I was having a bit of a problem as well here, so it's not a problem. Now it's resolved. Now you can see I have covered most of I've covered most of the glass with the flowers. So my next step is going to be now putting the name and the big flowers on the sides, right? So I'm gonna go in and place the name. Remember, I told you the baking. Okay, firstly, here I was just trying to put the flowers that were left behind on top of putting it on the glass, right? So they were left behind. Some will be left behind, some won't. In this case, it was just a few. It's not even a handful. So once that is done, you'll see me. I'm just gonna lift the baking of the name and I'm putting it there. And now I'm gonna go on to the next baking of the name, which is easy because these are, I used an offset, if you could remember. I used an offset for this, so it's easier to just take it because it comes out as one. It doesn't have a lot of elements to it. So that's what I did. So the final part of the name is there. As you can see, it's very thin, very, very thin. I don't like working with thin fonts, but they're so beautiful. So I had to. So here we go now. I'm just going to peel it out using transfer tape because I can't take it one, right? So I'm just going to put it on top. There we go. I'm just going to put it on top and make sure that it's properly aligned. And I am going to go in with a scraper as well. I'm sorry it's not visible here. So I'm going to go in there and put it. And I'm going to go in with a scraper. There we go. And then I'm just going to align it properly because not everything is perfect and you'll never have a perfect project. It doesn't matter how brilliant you are. You'll always have to fix things manually there and there. So I'm placing my flowers accordingly and I'm trying to close the gaps so that it doesn't look weird. Everything looks intentional. So I'm placing the sticker ones or the ones that came out as one. However, with the big purple flowers, I am going to need transfer tape. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to just pick one up and put it because it has a lot of elements and you have to keep that in mind actually. So as you can see, I'm pulling it and then I'm going to cut them into pieces and place them accordingly on top of each flower. Do you see how beautiful that is? So on top of each flower, I'm just going to go there. Okay. So transfer tape is reusable. If you can, reserve it as much as you can. But in the beginning, it's easy to forget it and you just start throwing it away. You only realize later that, oh my word, I shouldn't have done that. So once that is done, which is actually the big work, I had to actually check out the parts where the small flowers were disturbed, where they moved. You remember when I was scraping, I had to replace those as well on the glass. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final product of what we have. So, thank you so much for watching and have a blessed day. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments. We'll definitely get back to you. Happy crafting. See you later.